Americans are seeing prices rise. They're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So they've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well, you have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially. The price of groceries are substantially down.
So now Trump is telling the American people that the grocery prices have come way down. Have they? And if they have, where do you live? Because we live in Charlotte and they have not come down at all. If anything, they've gone up. So...
Now, you've probably come across some videos highlighting how Americans are complaining of increased grocery prices and all other items that they use. But then Trump was given a chance to respond to some of these claims, and his response will shock you. Let's watch how he reacted and how other Americans also reacted to him.
He said, you won't have eggs for Easter. Well, you can have all the eggs you want. And the egg prices are down 87%. You can have all the eggs you want. We have too many eggs. In fact, if anything, the prices are getting too low.
Americans are seeing prices rise. They're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So they've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well, you have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially. The price of groceries are substantially down. The price of eggs, when I came in, they hit me with eggs. I just got there. I was here for 1 week and they started screaming at me, eggs have gone through the roof. I said, I just got here. I was there for 7 days and I hear that eggs have gone through the roof before I got there. And they were screaming at me, the press, the fake news, like you're fake. And the fake news is screaming at me like about eggs. I said, I've only been here, this is my 7th day. And they were right. They went up 87% and you couldn't get them. They said, you won't have eggs for Easter, which is coming up. Happy Easter, everybody. You won't have eggs for Easter. And we did an unbelievable job. And now eggs are all over the place and the price went down 92%.
I just wanted to tell y'all I spent $100 at the grocery store on these items. $100 for 5 bags, 2 items, a drink, and some chicken, and some vegetables. The fuck going on in America?
I'm gonna show you why mass looting is gonna start soon. Dude, $12.44. Patties? Come on. Bro, $12.28 for some taquitos. Can't even afford eggs. Bro, $9.92 for a frozen pizza. It's the same price as the Uno's one, bro. Bro, frozen fish nugget bites, $6.62. For the pickles, bro. I don't even like pickles. You can keep them. Nah. Bro, is anything single digits? $2.78 for the 2-liter, bro. What? Bro, no. They really did that. Bro, what are you talking about? Bro, peanut butter. Like, bro, I gotta go. What is going on here?
You think your grocery prices are bad? Look at my grocery prices. I'm here to show you guys my grocery prices so you don't have to feel bad about yours. She smells good.
Yo, I'm at Costco right now, and the dude in front of me just spent $1,300 at Costco. I said, God damn. He looked back at me and laughed and was like, yeah, it's tough out here. I said, damn, do you have like a business or something? He goes, nah. I I got 7 kids. I said, yeah, I felt that. I said, damn, life's hard. I don't got no kids, but I felt it for him.
This is to Mr. Trump, the President of the United States. In 2016, when you said you was going to run for president, you said you was not presidential, you was a businessman. So I took it upon myself and my family to support you in 2020. The 4 years you was in office, you did a great job. You brought everything down. You helped us deployables out. Yes, Nancy Pelosi called us deployables. But anyway, in 2000, when you run again, you did not win. But it wasn't my fault. I voted for you. And then I voted for you again and you won. You only been in office for 4 days. You said, promises made, promises kept. But Mr. President, gas was $2.53 a gallon when you took office. Now it's almost anywhere from $2.90 to almost $3.04. Mr. President, look what you done, Mr. President. Yes, we need gas to come down. That's $2.90 a gallon, Mr. President. We need help. Only draw those small Social Security checks. Don't make much money. Help us, Mr. President. Keep your promise. You said promises made, promise kept.
What do you think about the China tariffs, Mother?
I think they're great.
Why?
Because Trump just imposed 125%. Because he's a winner. And America's going to win.
Hey everybody, Rich coming to you here at leavingmaga.org. I want to make a particular appeal today to MAGA Americans. I really don't believe that what is happening in our country now is something that you want. But I understand that it's not a natural act for us to admit that we believed lies and that we acted upon them and that we allowed those lies to shape our being and our personhood and our identity. And Leaving MAGA does not judge you. We do not ostracize those who have doubts. You are welcome with us at our community. And for friends and family who are out there who have friends and family in MAGA, we are here for you as well for support. Make sure that you follow us at our socials, leavingmaga.org. Get on our newsletter. Make sure you're subscribing. Empathy is much more preferable than scorn. Thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate your support.
I just watched a video of a guy who was confused as an illegal immigrant and he was deported. Now, all the Republicans are going to say, no, he was an MS-13. He was a violent gang member. He came here illegally. Okay, if that's true, deport him. But what if it's not true? What if we're making a mistake? Not everyone. But what if we're making a mistake with a handful of people? Then that's wrong. This is why we have to have conversations with Democrats. And this is why Democrats need to stop being so argumentative, so controversial, so irrational, and so like rage baiting, insulting, because we don't want to hear out anyone who's always screaming at us and having a temper tantrum. Conversations will change the world. And here's the truth about what Democrats are saying. How do we know that we're actually deporting illegal immigrants? Because they don't have an ID, because they have a tattoo that's kind of similar to some sort of gang from Central America, South America? That's not good enough, man. Like, we need to know for sure. And you can't tell me that Donald Trump is 100% right, that ICE is 100% right about this. You can't tell me, because no one's perfect. But we have to be perfect on this, and we have to get back to putting our differences to the side so we can have a conversation, because this is a big problem, guys.
My name is Myron. I am a conservative, a senior citizen, and a Vietnam veteran, and I voted for Trump in 2016 and 2020. In 2020, Trump claimed that the election had been stolen, and I donated to his Stop the Steal campaign. In fact, I continue to receive mail such as this just yesterday from Trump. January 6, 21 changed my opinion, and I began to read and learn who the man really is. Upon reviewing the damage that Trump has caused within weeks of his new administration to our country and the world, I am thankful that I did not vote for Trump in 24. I am happy that I decided to leave MAGA. Thank you.
Guys, I know we're all exhausted, but can you please keep calling your senators? If you voted for Trump, but you claim that you're not MAGA, like, this is the time to stand up. It's been the time, but like, it's really time. And if you're a Democrat and you're thinking like, oh, all of this sucks, like, there's stuff that you can be doing. It takes 2 seconds. It's not scary. There's a million scripts out there, and it's really so easy. And you can call after hours and leave a voicemail if you don't want to talk to somebody. I'm going to tag Jess Craven in the caption. She's always got scripts. You can download the 5 Calls app. You literally press 2 buttons and read a paragraph. No action that each one, like, individual person takes is going to be the thing that changes the movement. It's a collective of all of us working together to make change. So it's really important that you don't stop calling people, writing people, showing up. I know I sound like a broken record, but I just think that we're all exhausted, and it's okay to take a little bit of a break, but I don't know. It doesn't really take much mental capacity to make a couple phone calls and leave a couple voicemails during the day or after hours, so that you just leave a voicemail.
Well, we got a full-on constitutional crisis now. The Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return of that guy from El Salvador, and the Trump administration is saying he's in the full custody of El Salvador. They can't get him back without even trying, which is what the Supreme Court ordered them to do. So now we have the president completely denying and ignoring the Supreme Court. So if you're a MAGA person at this point, you can stop bringing up the Constitution ever, because Donald Trump is straight up ignoring the Constitution right now. He's completely ignoring the Supreme Court. And if he can do this to a legal resident, a person who was here legally and is married to an American citizen, what's to stop him from grabbing any American citizen and sending them to El Salvador and then being like, well, they're in El Salvador's custody now. There's nothing I can do about it. The answer is nothing. There's nothing to stop him from doing this to American citizens. And if you're okay with that, it's time to just admit you're a fascist.
Hey everyone, Rich coming to you here at leavingmaga.org. I wanted to just make a quick comment about these recent published reports about RFK and the measles and children dying in the vaccine. The acceptance of avoidable deaths, suffering, and trauma was a line of demarcation I could not cross, and it was one of the primary reasons that I left MAGA. And as we can see, that acceptance still exists right now.
I just wanted to hop on here really quick and say, when people are sharing about the SAVE Act and saying that Republican women want their husbands to vote for them and that they really essentially want household voting, and the Republican pundits and talking heads are refuting that and saying, oh, that's absolutely outrageous. Hi, my name is Stefania, and I left MAGA in 2021. I was a MAGA evangelical, so I was in the church, which is literally the core cult of MAGA, and long story short, I wanted my husband to vote for my household. I was absolutely okay with that because I believed it was my job to submit to my husband. He was the head of the household, and therefore, why would I need to vote? He can just as easily vote for all of us. I wanted that, and I was MAGA, and that is how I can tell you with confidence that MAGA women support this bill, and in fact, they are trying to thwart the process by making sure they have their passports up front. Ask me how I know. I just wanted to hop on here.
I spent time last night talking to someone that had left MAGA, and I wanted to know how they got into it and how they got out of it. And they grew up in a conservative area, and their family was conservative. I don't know that they were really religious, but the father was very pro-life, aggressively so. And so he's like, that's all I knew about that. And to me, it felt like you had to vote for Trump if you cared about babies. He goes, because to me, that was murdering children, which in a cult, that's what it is. And so when you hear arguments from the other side, it's just people that don't care about murdering babies, so you don't entertain the thought. And I said, well, how did you reconcile things with, Trump not being a good person? And he said, well, anytime someone said he was a racist or he was homophobic and stuff, he goes, my brain would pick up any time that he had done something that sounded the opposite. And then that was just enough because my brain needed him to be the one that protected the babies because I didn't have another option. And so I said, so you felt Like, you were a good person doing the right thing, saving these babies. He's like, well, of course, because that's all I knew. And that's kind of the point, though, is from their side, they think they're doing good. They really do. And it's hard to see from the outside. And it's like, well, we've explained to them, well, yeah, well, let's talk about souls. You know, some of us have a real opinion about there not being souls. They're not going to listen to that. So that baby is a soul to them, and they are saving that baby. And what we say about it doesn't matter much, especially if you're yelling at them and just calling them names. So you only care about them, you know, it's just, they can't hear it. So he said he had an uncle that was pro-choice, and he had to spend some time with him. He was an older uncle, and he said he really took apart like all the beliefs that I had. And I said, now I want to ask you something. I said, was he, you know, grouchy and aggressive with you, or kind of laugh at you when you share your opinions? Or was he very respectful and kind and patient with you? And did you feel safe? And he said, that's exactly the environment it was. It was simply, he wasn't going to allow his nephew to go through life believing lies. And so he was going to do what he needed to spend the time with me to make sure I broke through that. He said, so he'd break down all that stuff. And I said, now, if he'd attacked you or made fun of you or told you were stupid, could you have hurt him? And he's like, I would have shut down immediately, because I would have been embarrassed or thought I was stupid or that he was a liar. He's like, I mean, it could have gone a lot of different ways. He goes, but he was so kind with me that it just diffused my fight or flight with him. So I could hear him, and I trusted him, so I didn't think he would try and, you know, lead me astray. And he goes, and it is very embarrassing when you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, you know. And he says, so you have to work through that too. And I said, he said, but he also was playful about it. Like, if he wanted to joke about, you know, how they all dress alike or MAGA, like the personality of what MAGA is, like, he'd be playful about that. Like, we could poke fun at that. And he said, so then that kind of allowed me to laugh about what I had done and what I'd been a part of, as opposed to, look at that, look what you did. It was more like, oh, aren't you glad you don't have to wear the hats anymore? And why don't those people, you know? And so it was more like that. So he goes, so it was information, it was kindness, and it was also playfulness. And I just thought this was a really interesting conversation, because, you know, he wasn't born into it by religion, but that doesn't mean people don't have really conservative beliefs, and especially about abortion. That's a very tricky one, especially when they think they are doing the right thing, because most of them do.
Yeah, so to the Indian immigrants and naturalized citizens in my comment section claiming I was just fear-mongering and that deportations of legal immigrants would never happen.
Homegrown's the next. The homegrown's built. You got to build about 5 more places.
Yeah, that's big.
All right. It's not big enough. Oh, yeah. Come on. So this is a much different office than you're.
He means you. You're homegrown. You're a citizen. You are homegrown. You're next. You're the person he's going to send to a prison in El Salvador next, without due process, without a criminal conviction. You're the person who, when the Supreme Court says you got to return him, he's going to say, no, I don't. No, I don't. You're next. You're next. How do you defend this? How do you even begin to defend this? No criminal conviction, no charges. They admitted that they shouldn't have deported him. He had a status that protected him. What do you think homegrown means? I don't even know where to begin with this. This is the beginning and the ending. This is all of it.
How confident you feeling now?
We officially have a dictator. No more like, will he be a dictator? Oh, yep, he's here. The Supreme Court made a ruling and Trump said, nah, I'm not gonna do that. The Supreme Court is the ultimate law in this country, okay? And it was a 9-0 vote. All 9 justices agreed. 6 of them are conservative judges, and they all agreed that this man was deported accidentally, that he is in the country legally, he's not a criminal, he has never been charged with a crime, and that he needs to be returned to this country. And Trump is like, nah. And Trump is calling him a criminal on TV. For what? He's not a criminal. I wonder how the MAGAs feel about this, although honestly, most of them are really fucking stupid, so a lot of them are probably happy. I think the real question is, what side are they going to take in the Civil War? Are the MAGAs going to be stupid enough to fight with the elite, or are they going to fight with everybody else? I guess we'll find out really soon.
Now, after watching that entire clip, I'm sure you now understand the state of American economy from the horse's mouth. It is the Americans who should be telling you how they feel. President Trump might just be given data and figures that do not represent the actual facts on the ground, and that is why sometimes he had to respond the way he responded. But most Americans are really crying out. I've brought some of these videos up, and sometimes those who give me comment tell me that those are just Democrats who are bitter about Trump being the president, and that they are going to complain and cry every day without really giving Trump a chance to really redeem himself. So we're waiting to see whether it's just Democrats who are suffering or it's something that everybody is feeling on the ground. Some Americans criticize Trump's economic management, citing policies that they believe prioritize short-term gains over long-term stability. His administration's tax cut, like the 2017 Tax Cut and Job Act, slashed corporate rates, boosting stock markets and corporate profits. Critics argue these benefits skewed towards the wealthy, with minimal trickle-down to the middle class, exacerbating income inequality. The national debt also ballooned under Trump, with deficits soaring due to tax cuts and increased spending, raising concerns about future economic burdens. His trade wars, particularly with China, imposed tariffs that disrupted supply chains, increased consumer prices, and hurt farmers reliant on exports. While Trump touts low unemployment and stock market highs, detractors point to wage stagnation for many workers and rising cost of goods, which erode purchasing power. Additionally, his deregulatory agenda, while spurring business growth, alarms those worried about environmental and financial protections, fearing long-term risks. Critics also note economic recovery post-COVID was uneven, with small businesses struggling despite stimulus efforts. These Americans feel Trump's approach, favoring deregulation, tax breaks for the rich, and protectionist trade, neglects broader economic equity and sustainability, leaving many behind. So that is it from us today. Tell me down in the comment section what you think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you.